WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of American over here in Germany, often tasting rare exotic whiskeys. Today I have something from Restoration. This is Castle Key. This is the Kentucky Rye Whiskey with 52%. I have batch 2 and this was bottled or released in 2021. So, all right, now, very first question. Why does this bottle not say straight rye whiskey on it? If someone can answer that question, I would be absolutely curious. I do love the design of the bottle. The cap here, it's heavy. It feels like it's metal. You have the nice little collar that says here, Castle and Key on there. You have the little plaque here. You have Castle and Key embraced here into the bottle design, even on the bottom. I mean, beautifully, beautifully done here. So for everyone that does not know the history of Castle and Key, I would just like to briefly go through the history here, because we have the old, and it's actually called here the E.H. Taylor. So let's go for the real name here. Colonel Edmund Haynes Taylor, Jr., 1887, built a new kind of distillery destination in Millville, Kentucky. I've never been there. Next time I'm in Kentucky, I have to drop by there. It's inspired by European architecture. It looks a little bit like Disney World. All right, the site features a real-life castle. They have a classic spring house. They have a sunken garden. And what he built became the birthplace of bourbon hospitality and hospitality and tourism. So bourbon tourism started with this distillery. And then Prohibition forced the closing of the distillery in 1920, and over the next century, the property changed owners many times and occupants as well, and eventually it fell into ruin. So fast forward all the way back up then to 2012, we have Will Arvin came across photographs of the abandoned distillery. He kept on thinking about its legacy and the potential. He decided to visit the property for himself. There he found caved-in roofs, boarded-up windows, doors, vegetation so overgrown he needed to use a flashlight in the middle of the day just to navigate. But he felt an affinity for the project, for the property here. And then he had actually the decision, I want to restore this historic bourbon icon. Well, it took him about 2 years to get a team of people around him with enough finances and enough manpower to actually purchase the old Taylor distillery. They don't own the name of E.H. Taylor. That belongs to Buffalo Trace, so they had to call it something else. They got to work, and they started not just renovating, but actually restoring the distillery. All right, so they pondered a name that would fit this modern idea, and then they came upon the name of Castle and Key. So highlighted the historic distillery and the castle and the importance of the grounds and the water source, the keyhole-shaped spring house. That's why we have the key there. Didn't know that either. Now, there were a few milestones that had to be conquered. For example, we had a nice little lady that worked for the distillery. Her name was Marianne. What was her name again? Marianne. So, Marianne Eve Evans. Is that correct with the Evans here? Marianne Eves. She started working with the distillery in 2015. Was one of the first female master distillers, left 2019. So she actually made this whiskey. This whiskey was made underneath her supervision. All right. So, and they, let's see here. What do I have that here? That information left. So we have here 2008, they had the grand opening of the distillery, the first release of their first Restoration Rye was 2020. March 2022, they had the Castle and Key Small Batch Bourbon Castle and Key Small Batch Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. And it was the first bourbon ever to be distilled at the historic old Taylor distillery in nearly 5 decades. So, wow. All right, very, very good. What do I have here? I have from 2021, I have batch number 2. So if my information is correct here, batch number 2 is made up of, wait a second, I can go over here. So, boom, So we have batch number 2 from 2021. So that was available only online. We now have a batch 3 from 2021. We had from 2022, batch 1, 2, and 3. And I can go down here and click on the batch here. So we had a total of 75 barrels that were involved here. So that information is correct. So we have 75 barrels that created this. We had a total here of, let's see here if I can get this right. 18,648 bottles at 52%. I actually in the back have bottle number 7,887. So batch number 2, 3.5, 5 years of age. So there was batch number 3 released at the same time. That was a little bit more of a lemony type of moment. Here we have a little bit more of a brown sugar baking spice type of moment. Mash bill, 63% rye, 20% malted barley, 17% yellow corn. Didn't say yellow dent number 2 corn, but it just said yellow corn. All right, so what am I going to compare it to? Whiskybase, 10 years of age. Over here, I pay 60 euros for this. This is made in Alberta, Canada. It is bottled in Vermont. So we have 50%, we have 52%. And I thought that'd be a fairly good way to show the difference between a 10-year-old 100% rye whiskey and a 3.5-year-old 63% rye whiskey. 63% mash bill. All right, the nose. Oh, I like the nose. That's that rye. There's a clove. There's a little bit of allspice. There's a tiny little bit of the wood and the leather going on here. Nice. Over here. Oh, I like this as well. This has a darker, deeper brown sugar moment going on. I really like this better. On the nose, this barely pulls ahead. All right, so on the palate, 52%, 3.5 years of age. It really bugs me that there's no mention of the word straight on here. Mm. 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 Got some really good spice going on here. Baking spice, cloves, maybe a little bit of fig. There is a little bit of youth in here. I would love to see this at 4, 5, 6 years. Perfect. So, very, very nice. This is a C+ whiskey for me. It's not the B-. There's a little bit of youth going on here. There's a little bit of a light. Gives a tiny, tiny little. It does give a Kentucky hug, but has a little bit of heartburn involved in there as well. Well, this is for a 3.5-year-old product, great. Now, what really bugged me was the following. When I take a look at the batch number 1 from 2020, 3 years. I take a look at batch number 1 in 2021, 3.5 years. What do I expect for 2022? I expect 4 years. And what is the age? 3. They've been making whiskey now for 5 years, and they put out a 3-year-old product in the 2022. Why? Why did you go up from 3 to 3.5 and back down to 3? I find that a shame. Now, the second thing I would like to ask, are there any importers, distributors of this anywhere outside of the US? For example, in Europe? So that'd be something that I think Castle Key is doing a great job of many, many different things. And if you're ever looking for someone, I know someone. Let's just say that. All right, good. Whistle Pig. There's that brown sugar, leathery moment going on here. I like this. This is not bad. 60 euros is a little bit where I go, ouch. But, What's really interesting at the very beginning, this has a little bit more strength, the 52% versus the 50%. This almost comes over a little weak at the beginning. But then it increases a little bit. But then what really happens is towards the end, there's a heat. There's a strong white pepper moment that I don't need in my whiskeys. So I need a little alcohol, but I don't need it at the end to be be hot. This goes hot at the end. This does not. This is almost from the beginning to the end. There's a certain base alcohol moment going on here, but this is like weak, okay, and then hot. I do prefer this. If I go back, the youthfulness of the whiskey becomes more evident. There is age missing on this. As I said, I want 4, and I would love 5 to 6 years of age. That would make this whiskey, in my opinion, at least theoretically, a great whiskey. So, but it's a good whiskey, and especially the price, $45. You can't. I mean, that's okay. So, what do you pay in the States here for Rittenhouse? $28. Nah. $30. Okay, good. Yeah, that's a bottle bond, 50%, 4 years of age. So, but you're getting a pretty bottle, and it's a new distillery, and so on and so on. All right, good. That's that. My question of the day is, please name in the chat a few of the new producers of rye whiskey. So a new producer would be someone who's come onto the scene the last, let's say, 8 or 10 years. All right, so New Riff Rye, delicious. Wilderness Rye, delicious. Sagamore Rye, delicious. What other new brands out there that you've had? Restoration Rye from Castle Key, I like. What other ryes have you had from the new boys, new girls? Don't forget, Mariana Eves was here, one of the important people here that you really, really enjoyed. All right, thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, and telling others. See you soon. The value for money in the States, I would say, is a C, and the taste is a C+. Bye-bye.